To begin this tutorial, we'll open up the tool sets needed to complete the exercises. 2D drawing tools for lines, arcs, circles, polygons, and curves. It's easy to draw precisely with your mouse and cursor using a special set of tools called snaps. From the line tools, select the first tool, the single line tool. Click a point to set the first point. As I drag my cursor out, you'll see the logic cursor is going to guide you through picking the next point. Drag our cursor down and click again to set the other end of the line. To position the cursor at the exact end point of one end or the other of this line, you position the cursor over the line, drag, and when the snap point is reached by the cursor, the logic cursor will display which snap point it's on. In this case, it's an end point. So click, that sets a point right at the end of the line. Click again to draw the line. Again, drag until the snap point is reached. The logic cursor says end point, and so we'll drag out and draw the next line. As you drag along this line, you'll also find another snap point, the midpoint. This is actually calculated as the exact center between those two endpoints that define that line. Now we'll draw two intersecting lines here. As I move my cursor up this line, when it hits midpoint, notice that it's not taking into account this intersection. It's actually calculating the midpoint from this endpoint to this endpoint. And then moving up to the intersection, this is the physical intersection between these two lines, which is another active snap point. Click there, and then draw to this endpoint. You'll see that as you create, you'll use a combination of snaps as you work. But these snaps are not isolated to just items with straight edges. From the View menu, we'll go to User Views and choose Circles. Moving the cursor to the center of this circle, you'll see the word center appear. That's another active snap point, the center point for a circle. So you'll click there, click here. So from center point to center point of these two circles. You'll also see that circles are broken down into quadrants. The quadrants appear at 0, 90 degrees, 180 degrees, and 270 degrees. And we've just drawn between those quadrant points. We'll click another here. And let's talk about the next snap, which is the tangent snap. We'll drag our cursor up. When it says tangent, simply click to place the line. Now to place a line that the first point is actually a tangent point, we've got to do a couple of special things. First, position the cursor so that the only prompting that's visible is the word on. That means that currently it's just tracking along the object. It's not looking at any other hotspots like the x-axis, the y-axis, and so on. When it says on, press the mouse button, drag out at about a 30-degree angle. That starts the tangent line. Come down. When it says tangent, release. Again, looking for just tracking around the object, on, press the mouse button, out at about a 30-degree angle, and around. So with two mouse clicks, you've drawn a line tangent to two circles. You can use this same process to draw lines that are perpendicular, and yes, even to circles. Position the cursor here, press the mouse button, drag straight out this time. It says perpendicular, and we'll place this perpendicular all the way up to the center point of that circle. And yes, you can even draw perpendiculars to curves. Again, from the View menu, let's choose the Alignment Custom View. Snaps can be used to do some special things called alignment. So for instance, if I wanted to draw from here a line straight down but have it stop even with this point, I can start at this midpoint, draw straight down, move my cursor over this endpoint, but don't click on it. Just let it recognize it, and it sets it as a reference point. And lets me draw to it. Again, we'll highlight this as a reference point. And so without using any construction lines, you're able to actually start doing construction in your drawing of points based on other points. In this case, I want to draw a line that's starting here at this line and even with the center point, but I don't want to draw to the center point. So we'll click this endpoint. We'll just move our cursor over the center point so it recognizes it as a reference point and click to draw. Use that process to create copies of these two objects. First, we'll draw the top line. We'll start the second line. So we'll move over this point as a reference point and this point as a reference point. And we'll click to draw. We'll do the same thing. We'll use this as a reference point and that as a reference point. And there we go. Over here, this one's a little bit more complicated, but we can do the same exact thing. We'll click from this quadrant point and come straight down. We'll use this as a reference point. Next, we'll come down, start a point here, set that as a reference point. And the last two things are circles. We'll go to the circle tools. The third tool is opposite point circle. So this draws a circle from the opposing end, or quadrant points, I should say. So from side to side, basically. So we'll set a point here. Just move our cursor over this as a reference point. And again, one more time. And there you're finished. Snaps will speed up the drawing process no matter what type of drawing you happen to be creating.